So last week I was actually given an award, first one ever in the Institute's history.
Please tell us your name.
My name's Jeffrey Morgan, and I'm for the bill.
Okay.
For Divorce Reform Activist of the Year, first one that they gave out. When we're talking about right now the idea of the increased separation period, there's a couple of things I think we need to keep in mind. Number one, many divorces are unnecessary. And that's not me saying this. This comes from Chief Justice of the Georgia Supreme Court, Leah Sears, who was going to be a President Barack Obama nominee to the Supreme Court. This is what she said, that we have too short of a waiting period right now. I think the second thing we need to look at is what is the purpose of marriage? Marriage is for the children. Divorce is for adults or just one adult. Children before adults. That's what we need to be looking at. When you look at what their proposal is, Leah Sears and this family professor said about 40% of the couples already deeply involved in the divorce process report that one or both spouses are interested in reconciliation. If we lengthen the period, and you look throughout the United States where there is a longer waiting period, there are fewer incidents of divorce. That is in the best interest of the children. Their major recommendation, as Christy just testified, was to extend the waiting period to divorce for at least 1 year, but also to provide high-quality education about the option of reconciliation so that you can help them reconcile. This actually took place in California when no-fault divorce first was implemented. They had a court that helped to reconcile families. No-fault divorce was not to create divorce on demand, but actually to help save families. Representative Kalani, one of the things that they talk about in this paper is that when you look at the majority of divorces, up to 66%, and I've even seen higher figures, depending on the studies, they occur in couples that have had average happiness and low levels of conflict. It was not out of an issue of abuse, is what it came down to. They also say, too, that our results suggest that divorces with the greatest potential to harm children are in marriages that have the greatest potential for reconciliation. To close, just one moment here. In my own divorce, which I was opposed to, it took place in 3 months. And I've got the original thing right here. Number one, there's no findings of facts whatsoever. Number two, if you look at the very last page, it says that I actually did not agree with it. Number three, after the divorce was done, my ex-wife wrote to me and said, I was hoping for reconciliation to the very end.
Thank you, Mr. Morgan. I appreciate that. Members,
Right.
any questions with
Yeah,
Representative Kalani?
thank you. I'm just going to point out again that just because abuse was not in the divorce documents does not mean that it did not occur and is not the reason for the divorce.
So I understand that, Representative Kalani, but you're making an assumption here because my ex-wife never said that. I've read the documents and the studies on abuse in marriage, including the ones out from SMU, and there was another one that I just read recently. In some of those instances, if you look at the number of divorces, the number of abuse cases that are alleged, they do a couple of different things that are really a bit dishonest. They take intimate partner abuse. What is an intimate partner? An intimate partner can be a new boyfriend, a new girlfriend, it can be this, that. It's not necessarily talking about a marriage relationship. So they are not being honest with the figures. And the other thing is that in many instances, if you have abuse, say that you have legitimate abuse, the man or the woman should be prosecuted. No-fault divorce lets them off the hook. It is a criminal action. We had an assistant district attorney in Williamson County, your county, Representative Tallarico, her name is Leslie Levy, coaching attorneys on how to use protective orders to get a leg up, leverage in divorce. And that's on video. I would be glad to give you the video because I recorded it. So the abuse thing, if abuse takes place, and there are cases of abuse, and there needs to be protection for the people who are the victims of abuse. But the abuse thing is actually being overused. And when you have an assistant district attorney counseling attorneys to say, here's how you file the protective order to get leverage in divorce. Something is wrong with this.
Okay, that's two different topics.
It is two different topics. I do agree
and
with you.
also, as far as saying that abuse is being overused or not overused, we know from countless cases all across the states that abuse is very prevalent, okay? And the majority of divorces that are filed in insupportability, there is abuse that has taken place. And whether it's emotional or physical or financial, it happens. And this provides them an avenue to get out of that bad situation.
And false allegations, I would also say, are abusive. And by the way, as far as the reasons for leaving for insupportability, it can simply be that a man has found a younger version of his wife with no stretch marks, and it can be that a woman has found a richer and more handsome and perhaps well-to-do person than her husband. There was nothing that was wrong. Do we keep marriage do we give marriage any legal protection or not? And again, that's off the topic of this bill.
Right.
But for this bill here, for the increase of the waiting period, you have an obligation to the children of today to say, can we decrease marriages? And they're saying 40% of these, or can we decrease divorce? They're saying 40% of the marriages, they could be saved. They're called unnecessary divorces. And if you talk about the children of those divorces, since the year 2000 till today, we have about 1.2 million children of divorce in the state of Texas. What if we could reduce that, even if it's only by 300,000? Is that something that's in the best interest of the children, and the best interest of the family, and the best interest of the states? The increased waiting period will allow that opportunity.
I think we're going to disagree on that. Thanks.
Okay. Again, I refer you to the study. I would be very happy to send it to you because this was done by two very credentialed people. It's not my opinion. It's their research study.
All right. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you
Morgan.
so much. I appreciate it. Thank you so
you.
much for allowing me to testify tonight. Thank you.
Thank you.